What is up, URL? We are back with our last All-Star Threes playoff match. I'm Andy. Here with me is Jesse in the booth. Jesse, how are we doing today?
Good. How are you?
Dude, I have been stoked for this game all week. Obviously, I have a little bit more weight on this game because you guys get to deal with the Blizzard up in the top, but we Scorpions have to deal with whoever comes out of this match. So, what are you thinking about this matchup, though?
I think honestly, I don't think it's gonna be as close as people think. Because
Really?
I know these two teams met like right at the end of the season with
And it
different
was
rosters.
3-2, though.
Yeah, it was different rosters too, though, which is my big thing. Changing rosters right at the end of the season, from experience, by the way, is not great.
Well, it clearly has paid off for you guys since you've won your first match already. But regardless, I am part of the crowd that is definitely saying that this is going to be a close match. But I guess we'll see as we get into it. One big thing we noticed off the rip, not seeing Molly O in the lobby for Yetis. Do you think that has as big of an impact as we were talking about a minute ago?
Honestly, yeah. If at any point you're not playing your starting three, it's gonna have an impact in some sort of way.
So does that mean that you're saying it's not close in the favor of the Tikis, or I mean, you said
Honestly,
it's not close.
I do think the Tikis will win. I don't think it'll be as close.
Okay.
So I do
All
think
right.
that's going to play a factor.
All right. So we see the bracket come up here. Yeah, as I said earlier, the Yetis and the Tikis playing for that last conference finals spot. I think it's going to be a really close match. Obviously, the substitution here for the Yetis, I think, is going to have a massive impact on this game. But we'll see how that goes. Stats wise, since you're the stat man, how are these teams stacking up with each other according to the numbers?
Well, once it shows up, there it is. As you can see, the goals per game, Tiki's lead in almost all stats except saves per game, which, in my opinion, goals and shots are the two biggest, and to lead by both of those, and especially shots by more than two, is
Yeah.
huge.
That's true. And as big of a number as that is over there on the right, 8.1, which I assume probably is a majority of shots coming from this roster that we're seeing from the Tikis from the back half of the season. I also wanted to see what kind of defense the Yetis were putting up based on some other numbers. Just because, as we know, the Yetis have kind of played a defensive style for the better part of the year. Obviously, Muffins added to this roster has added another element of offense. But the Yetis give up 6.5 shots per game with this current roster. But the opponents only have scored 1.8 goals per game. So even though that number over there on the right is really big for the shots for the Tikis, I think it still shows a lot about this Yetis team that they've been able to hold their opponents to about a 28% shot percentage. I mean, do you agree with that, or do you think that doesn't really play a factor in this game?
I think it would normally play a factor if it wasn't playoffs, because playoffs is a whole different situation. You've got nerves. You've got the fact that you've got a sub now, which
That's true.
were those stats for the Yetis based on the three that are playing,
Yeah,
or was
no,
it?
Muffinsy, Far, and then Molly, of course. But
Yeah, so I think that'll play a difference. I think playoffs will play a difference. I think the situation they're in with the sub, and then the situation that it is a win or go home situation. So that pressure for the sub to perform better than the starting three that they normally have definitely is going
yeah,
to play into the result.
yeah. Well, I think we have two very different play styles here. Obviously, the Tikis have been very offensive the back half of this year, or this season rather, and the Yetis have been very defensive for pretty much the entire year. Also, the Yetis tend to be a team that don't get talked about a lot. You don't hear a lot of chirping from them. The Tikis, the exact opposite. Probably take the crown of the most toxic team of three in the entire league at the moment. But I'll be interested to see how this goes. So I mean, if they want to join up, we'll get this game underway. But I'm just ready to see the outcome of this. Obviously, Crazy Monkey not going to be here, so we've got a huge burden of choosing car of the game at some point during this match. But we got a couple games before that happens. But
All right.
let's see how these two teams stack up on the field.
Kickoff underway goes in favor of orange. Recon already with a
Big
big
whiff.
miss. Double
I think
tap
you're
potential.
Yeah, I think
Recon.
you're going to see a lot of balls go off the high off the backboard for this Tikis team. That's how they've kind of been playing. All this roster anyway loves to keep the ball in the air, pass to each other, probably double commit a little bit, but they typically have the mechanics in the air to make it look like a cool pass rather than an offensive double commit.
Yeah, I think if Yetis. Oh, I think if Yetis
Pinch
can
there.
see that early, it's going to play
Yeah,
a big factor. Especially if they can find a way to defend any sort of backboard, as we
good
see
save
right there.
right there.
Another
Yeah,
one.
the sub stepping up though on that save right there, as you see, maybe showing the lack of nerves being affected here. Far big whiff here, but Far has definitely been one of those people that, as for when we played him for sure, it's you always wonder how in the world Far got where he is, like on the field to save that ball. It's like you'd never see him, and then all of a sudden you shoot a shot on net and he's just there to block it. Oh, well, good flip right there from Muffinsy.
So
Takes the
far, what
corner
I've
boost.
seen, Cheekies
Yeah, go
definitely
ahead.
have most of the pressure, but
Yeah, but I
Yetis
mean
are
that's
finally able
their
to get a
that's their
little
play
bit.
style, and the Yetis have kind of so far have been content to just let that pressure come to them and play it off as it comes. So
Missed opportunity by Diva there.
yeah,
Definitely open net, just couldn't find the read.
one
Muffin's
thing the
passing it down.
Yetis, yeah, one thing the Yetis did, or excuse me, the Tikis did a great job of during our last series of the regular season was they do a good job of locking down that midfield. Clears, they tend to keep somebody at midfield to keep the ball in off those big clears from the defensive end from their opponent, so it's hard to get that offensive momentum against that team. So they just keep the ball on offense for the majority of the
Mhm.
game.
It has looked like though, after both teams kind of got comfortable in the first like minute or two, Yetis have started to put on that pressure, but they haven't really had a
Muffinsey's
good
there.
look
Yeah,
just yet
Muffinsey's
compared
had a good
to
couple carries
Tiki's.
around the corner, but he's had one of them pinched off real big, and the other one he couldn't quite get the flip to turn it in.
Hmm.
Um, but Muffinsey, I think he's going to be the facilitator here. This game, he's probably their best offensive weapon as far as ball control and that sort of thing. Obviously, Farr has been a fantastic shooter for this team, and then Douche we haven't got to see a lot of, as we know. This they've made it this far, and so he has definitely had to play some games. So no discredit to him, but just not in the starting lineup typically for what we're seeing. A good block there
Muffins.
from Muffins Eve. Doesn't have the boost though.
Are
Good
we
catch
kind of
from
gonna try
Recon
and
to
take
get the
this up the
corner.
wall? Passes it mid to Devo. Devo launches it down.
Oh, good demo there.
Far, but demoed from Recon, so he can't
Yep.
finish that clear, which is unfortunate because now it's back in the blue
Little
half,
mix
which I
up in the
feel like is
corner.
where it's been all game.
Yep. That could have been
Devo
dangerous for
gonna-
the Yetis. Looked like a little miscommunication from Douche and Muffinsy there in the corner, but still able to fend it off. Good
I do
pop
think
from Muffinsy.
important note, just as we're sitting here, which
Yep.
may have a factor. Far has been kind of sitting at that 100 ping range,
Ooh.
and that's kind of the right before the tipping point of where
Yeah, but
lag
you
starts to
assume
become a
he's
factor.
yeah, but you assume he's used to playing. Oh, an
Oh,
unfortunate
missed.
bounce off the wall
Good
there.
shot by
I don't
Speed.
think he wanted at all to double that, but I don't think to come back to the point. I don't think Far is unused to playing with ping like that because I mean
Right.
most people like even Butcher on the Scorpions, he's typically playing in the upper 80s to 90s range, and like you say, I guess when it turns yellow is when it really makes a difference. Um,
Yeah,
but still, I think players like that are probably typically used to playing under bad conditions, so to speak.
I agree. I do think
Oh,
just good dunk
wow.
by Recon. I didn't even see
Dunk
what
on
happened.
Speed, his own teammate. Speed saved the ball.
Three with a good clear. And Muffins, I just misread the ball and was expecting something that didn't come through, and he got bumped out by
Speed
Speed.
saved it and then got the bump.
It's a 2-goal lead with a minute left. Yet he's got to get
Yeah.
something done and probably right off
That's
this kickoff, which they
that's going to
can't.
be the big problem for the Yetis is somehow finding momentum, because this Tiki's team is so good at keeping the ball on your half, um, and just making it seem like they're constricting you from clears like this. But like you say, the Yetis just struggling to get opportunities to put the ball in the net. That's probably the closest they've been this match, but still can't find the one to get the goose egg off the
Tikis,
board.
Tikis are playing with a little bit of fire though by continuously crossing it across
Yeah.
their net, because
Well,
eventually you'd expect that somebody's going to have a missed touch and that's just going to lead to an open net, but
right.
that's yet to happen. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, like we mentioned, they're probably one of the chippiest teams as far as wanting to be talked about, wanting to be heard. If anybody watched the what's it called, the playoff predictions stream, then they were very upset they didn't get chose to win the whole thing. But they've been playing like it this whole time. So more props to them.
Yetis
Ooh,
do have to
awkward
get
here for Dude.
something done right now, otherwise they've lost this first
Yeah.
game. And
I think they
Tiki's
just
being
need
able
to
to keep that pressure on is
yeah,
definitely just killed their game off.
don't let the Tikis take one for the road to give them even more momentum. I think that's the big
Good
thing
job.
here. Yeah, I think that's about as good as you can ask for there at the end of that game. Obviously, you'd want to put one in. Oh, douche asking for the reset. I guess that far ping is not a typical thing. So I guess we will see a server reset here. So everybody will panic leave the lobby as we get that reset up. But yeah, thoughts from that first game.
I do think, especially with them asking for the reset, that it may have had a factor, at least in maybe that first goal, because I know he had a weird kind of touch into his backboard that pinched right
Yeah.
into the middle. I think that
Yeah,
might have a part to do with it. But other than that, I think the Yetis just need to find a way to get through the Tiki's midfield line,
yeah.
because they only got it through a couple of times, and even then they couldn't really get any good shots on.
Yeah, I think they need to make sure that when they do get that ball through that midfield, they send at least two people. I think a lot of the big clears only consisted of one Yetis player trying to go up. And the couple times that Muffinsy was able to carry the ball around the corner, there's nobody there to shoot, even though he didn't have the greatest pass. There's not even somebody available to take the shot. So I think they've
Mm-hmm.
got to make sure that even though they do play defensive, and that's been their style to get them to where they are right now, I think they have to make sure that they're taking that and transitioning into offense rather than just trying to turtle up and just get those random clear goals from all the way in their own goal box. So,
Right, because it didn't look like Tiki's was double committing too much. They did
mhm.
have a few, but they're not double committing or even triple committing. Those
Yeah.
clears are just not going to go
Well, I
down
think
the way that
that's
they're
the
hoping
big thing
for.
too is that even when they do double commit, the third one is not like up in an awkward spot. It's always either way back or in a good position to accept the clear and make sure that it doesn't turn into something too threatening against the
Mhm.
Tikis. So I think
All
they're
right.
playing good Rocket League right now.
After one game, what are your thoughts? What are your predictions?
I have thought from the rip that the Tikis are going to take this in Game 5, kind of like what happened in the regular season matchup they had. Nolan, of course, animate about the Yetis winning this matchup, and I honestly am excited. Obviously, as a Scorpion, I'm excited for whoever we get to face in the next round. Um, obviously, we had the loss at the end of the season to the Tikis going into playoffs to actually allow them into playoffs.
Mhm.
So you're welcome for that, Tikis. But but here as we get into game two, already the ball camping in the blue half.
Yeah, but Muffin's hoping to get a good pass to his teammate who can't really do much with the ball. Kind of
Yeah,
whiffing his speed, just flying around the ball, causing a little bit of chaos without actually touching the ball. Good
yeah.
pass middle, recon, can't.
Not able to curl in. I'd love to have the boost meter type thing that RLCS has up in the top right because I'd love to see how well the Tikis are controlling the boost game. Because I think that's huge against teams that like to sit back on defense a little bit. Because obviously, if you don't have the beans to make the save,
Good
it's just going to
shot.
do that right there. So,
Yeah, I think just from how that first game is going and how this one's going now, I think it's safe to say that Tikis do have that boost advantage most of the
yeah.
time because it allows them to hold that midfield off. And the
Hmm.
Yetis can't push as far without having at least a little bit of boost.
Yeah. And I think they do a good job of using it when they do get it because they are able to. I mean, every time you see them, they're hardly ever out of
Oh, what a
boost. What a
shot.
shot from Divio there. Good read off the corner. Saves the flip. What a shot. But I mean, like for in this play right here, he keeps 65 boost all the way down the field there until he goes into the air, and so you see a lot of people would probably use the boost to get to the ball if they're not thinking about it, but it just comes natural for this Tiki's team to use their boost as efficiently as possible. It seems like.
I do think for the mental of Yetis, though, they need to get something done on this offensive drive,
Mhm.
at least a good shot, if anything, which they're not able to do. And as they take a shot instead, reversing it down the field, I do think if they can't get anything done on that offense, it's going to start to hit them a little bit that
Yeah.
there's just no chance for them to do anything, which I know I've been in that place before where it just can't get offense down and it just seems
Hmm.
hopeless because you can't get any opportunities and they just keep firing at the net, even if you're getting those saves.
Well, the longer that 0 stays on the scoreboard, the more discouraging it gets for sure.
Oh, what a shot.
And the bigger that number gets, the more discouraging it is also. Tiki's just absolutely hammering away at the blue goal right now.
Far just
Just
couldn't reach
barely
that
a minute
ball.
and a half in, yeah. I think
I
he was
mean,
trying, yeah, he was trying to grab that corner boost, but couldn't quite get over there in time.
yeah. I do think another part that's going to come into play is that the Yetis can pick up those small pads as well. Because I've not seen a
Hmm.
lot from either team, to be honest. But small pads are highly underrated in this game, and most people don't realize that you only really need 2 or 3 to touch
Yeah.
the ball and get a good clear or something.
Yep.
So I think if they can start to use those a little bit more, that boost game will become less and less of a too big of a problem for the
Yeah, but
Yetis.
even so, I mean, they still can't hardly get the ball past the midfield. And when
Right.
they do, there's no, I mean, there's nothing happening. And the Tikis are still able
So
to
he's
just push
just
it
playing a
back.
faster game because they're able to get that boost, and
Hmm.
that's just such a huge factor in this that I think the Yetis really need to start to figure out. Because if they can't, it's just this they're gonna have another game like this and another game like last game where it's just 2 bad losses
Takes
back
care.
to back.
Yeah. They really got to get something going here. I mean, with time dwindling down every second that ticks off the clock, especially with the 3 goal deficit, just harder and harder to climb out of that hole.
Muffins with the double, good clear from Divio. Far
I
gonna
guess we
try and
can.
keep that
I
in.
guess we can bring up the conversation of car of the game. I feel like we don't have a lot to choose from, to be
No,
honest, but
a lot of blank cars.
a lot of
In
blank
fact,
cars.
only one person doesn't have a blank car,
Yep,
and it's
and they
Rico,
have a
and
very standard
it's very close. So I guess we're
decal.
picking
Yeah,
favorite colors as that shot
yeah,
almost goes in. I will say Far has the cool looking sunglasses to
agreed.
add
That
to
was gonna
his.
be. I like Douche's color though. I like that bright bluish green.
Mhm.
Um, but like you say, the shades are a big kicker for me.
Lots of
The
clean
Tiki's one
cars.
down in defense. Oh, nobody back for the Yetis though.
Good
Gonna be
shot.
another one.
Scheme.
The
They
Yetis
need something on
still
kickoff.
shut out for the series.
Something's gonna happen on kickoff. Otherwise, this is just gonna be a quick 3-0
Yeah.
because that mental game is going to start hurting pretty bad.
You have to imagine too that once again, nothing against douche here, but you've played with a lineup for 8 weeks, or probably in their case more like 4 or 5 weeks,
Hmm.
and then you come into probably your most competitive match of the year in playoffs, and you don't have your starting 3. That like you said, the mental game that's got to play into it too.
Yeah.
You have to imagine.
Did
Big
see
demo there from Recon.
Far not moving. Potentially either
Or still
lag or
not
just
moving.
frustrated, which I mean both is fair. They got to clear this though, because they can't let
Save,
another one
save.
in, because otherwise
Yeah.
that mental is just going to be chopped, and it's going to make it really hard to make a comeback if you can't trust yourself or believe in yourself to get a win or even a goal. Miss
Ooh, a
clear.
couple, yeah, a couple whiffs on offense and defense there.
I think the Yetis are just ready to move on to the next game at this point, and I don't really blame them.
I don't
This
either.
this game is out of reach almost at this point, unless they
They're,
get
I mean,
something
but
around.
they've got to change something up, regardless of how this game turns out. Which, pretty sure we can guess
Yeah.
the finishing result. But I mean, they've got to figure something out there because they have done little to nothing to put any sort of pressure on this
Good
Tiki's
pass.
team. A good pass there and doesn't quite register as a shot.
Oh, what a
Does this
shot!
go in? Oh my goodness. Speed living up to the name there on that one.
Yetis are just being outpaced, outmatched, outclassed in every fashion of the game except defense.
All the words you can use.
Literally,
Out this, out that. Yeah,
the
another
with the game
Far
glitch
has hit
and
the
another
FF
one.
button for this one.
That is game.
Do we see another goal and then the own goal from the Tikis? I feel like if
Oh,
any team is going to do it in playoffs, it would be this team right here.
I will say the Foxes a couple days ago came very close at a 6-1 against the Gorillas in Game 2. So it
Oh,
wouldn't be. This is probably one of the second or third closest games to get there because I know there was one in I think Ultimate. I think one team was able to Brazil, but I don't remember
hmm.
which teams it were. But
Well,
Tikis
6-0 for game
2-0,
2.
2-0 up.
Unfortunate results currently for the Yetis. What do you think they have to do specifically to turn this game around or turn this
They
series around?
I don't know how many times I tell teams that this is important or that they need to start doing it besides small pads is 50s. 50s are super underrated and they're super good way, especially if you have somebody close up behind you following to get a good clear, good touch. And if you can't get those 50s going, then it's going to be rough, which is what we're seeing now because they're just getting beat to the ball and it keeps getting launched to their side, and they just don't have any way to counter that without trying to kill the ball. But
Yeah, I think they're doing a little bit of to your point. I think they're doing a little bit too much camping on defense, and not sending people to 50 like you're saying, and then it's resulting in just shot after shot from the Tikis. 15 shots to 3 in this game. Um,
kind
it's a
of
typical scoreline kind of for the Yetis, but they're just not able to make the saves because the Tikis are making such good shots in this
right, and
series
that
so far.
that shot factor, that the shots, that's the beginning that we were talking about, definitely making a difference here.
Yeah.
The saves not so much, unfortunately, for the Yetis, but we have to
Yeah, I
see.
don't think the Tikis have made many bad shots. I think that's the thing
Oh,
too. Every shot, even if it counts as a shot, but misses, is still been a good, powerful um, shot off the crossbar, off the wall, just next to the post, anything like that. I think they're doing a lot of effective things with the ball on the offensive end,
right.
and then, like you say, locking down that midfield.
It is just
Um,
got to take their few chances that they're getting and make them worth the defense that they're
yeah.
paying for it. Because if they
Molly
can't get
O
those,
has joined the lobby.
uh
Wait
oh,
a second. You want to talk about a Cinderella story right here?
is this what they need?
Wow, this could be a game changer. This could make it interesting.
Douche now subbing out. In fact, leaving the server as a whole.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know if I agree with that though, because Far has been pretty laggy the entire series, and it's been definitely a defect to him.
yeah. But back to the point they've been. But when you play with a lineup, regardless of if there's lag or not, you got to imagine that you're going to be more comfortable with that team on the field. So we'll see. I hope that they follow the script and go to game 5 like they're supposed to. But we'll see. Are going to bang it off or take it around the corner here. The Yetis already with a little more pressure off kickoff here. The ball spending way more time on the orange half than it has this entire series. Divio with a good pop there, though, with 0 boost. Olio going to gather it. Not the best touch back to Divio there. Almost has the angle of a lifetime. Are going to be there to pop it out to himself. A good double dunk there from each team. Nobody there to clean up for the Yetis, though. Seemed like a prime opportunity. Recon going to clear it back at the corner. Muffinsy with a good read. Far with the finish. No. Good save by Divio.
Molly gonna try and
Miscommunication
read.
here.
Bad misread though. Muffin's gonna have to make a good save. Good clear though, but Divio is able to keep that in.
Yeah. But
Muffin's gonna try and bring
you
it
can
down.
already see the pace pick up from the Yetis, though.
Agreed.
Even off kickoff, the ball was in the orange half. What a dunk by Far
Good
there.
dunk. Molly making that intact already, morale wise,
Yeah.
and even speed wise, able to pick it up
Lab team
just a
up
little bit
there.
more. It's just whether they can keep this up for 15 minutes
Yeah.
and get those offensive pressures
Or
going.
longer if we see an overtime. Molly with the attempted dunk.
Speed, air dribble, possible
Speed
for
rocking
reset.
the
Divio, double commit. Oh wait,
ooh,
we now we gotta see
what a weird
Molly's car.
opportunity.
because we got a new car.
What do you know? It's naked.
Oh,
The
clear shot
Yetis
there.
get their first goal of the series from what do you know?
Molly.
Malio.
Good
And
pass from
that
Muffins
has
there.
to be what the Yetis need to turn this thing around
This is,
because you haven't seen the ball go in that net the entire series so far.
and that's the exact type of goal you were talking about at the end of, I think, that second game was the clear game leading to a shot. You had a little bit of a double commit from Tikis and then overextension of that third man. And Muffins with a good clear, and Molly just able to sit down field and has a free shot at the ball. I will say though, Tikis are starting to play out that pressure again. Since kickoff, Tikis haven't really let go of the ball.
I think Div got the flip he wanted right there. Speed rocking the those are the alpha wheels, right? Or the whatever they're called, the gold rush wheels. Oh
No.
not the best play from the Yetis there. A little grouped up. I think there was a misflip by far, yeah.
Yep.
And then the wheel touch.
A
That
little bit
is
of overextension from Muffins
unfortunate.
on the right side.
Yeah.
Just
You want to
leads to
keep your
open.
momentum. That is not what you want to do right there.
No. They definitely got to get one back, or like quick.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we could start to see another downhill slope like we saw the last two games, even with that new factor in Molly.
Yeah, but I'm loving all the offense that is happening on the Yeti side. Just with the addition of Molly, he's just playing so much faster, and being able to keep up with that pace that the Tikis are kind of forcing on the Yetis right now.
Yeah, they definitely do look a little bit more comfortable and confident. As I say, a weird double commit, but poor miss shot from Recon leads to potential 1v1. Molly
50s squirts out to Divio.
good
I
clear.
don't know how much boost he has.
Speed good
He's
shot.
trying the bump.
You can see all three
Big
players in
boost
that
deal.
corner.
Yeah. Oh, big dunk from Molly
Leads
there.
to a
It's
good
huge.
clear. Good demo from Molly.
Double
Open
demo.
net. Backboard.
Recon with the read.
Divya gonna try and clear it out. Misses the ball. Speed will instead clear it out. Far potentially to clear it right back. Poor touch.
Not the
Recon's
touch.
there.
Not able to put
Divya
it
gonna
on
keep
net,
this
though.
pressure on.
It's a good pinch. Far there to at least tap it away from midfield.
It's a lot of Tiki's pressure, even with Molly addition, but I am starting to see that little bit of balance coming from the Yetis, where they're able to get a few more shots on than the last two games. And that's definitely keeping that. That's why this game is so close now compared to the first two, is that they actually have a semblance of an offense going. But I am starting to see the shaky defense happening, as I think they're starting to get the nerves.
Though. Oh, little double commit. I think the Yetis need to make sure their comms are staying crisp on these. If they're going to play defensive, you have to make sure you're communicating.
Yeah,
Because the
can't
double commit on
afford
that
this
end is going to kill you.
Muffins with a clear. Good clear.
Good bang, good
Speed's
bang.
going to try. Recon actually is going to try and just get that 50. Good 50.
Big dunk from Muffinsies.
Keeping the pressure on, though, from Yetis. 30 seconds left.
Ooh, big whiff, though.
At this point, next goal is the win for either the Yetis
Yeah,
or
you'd
the
have to
Tikis.
imagine so. Overtime or otherwise.
Speed, air dribble. Potential here. Molly's up. Misses.
Oh, good save. Good
save.
patience from Far right there. A little bit of a misread from Muffinsy.
Recon. Oh,
Good shot.
what a shot.
Molly there to
Poor
save
touch.
it.
Good clear, though, from
Good
Muffins.
touch.
It's a good,
Tiki's
good
really
team clears. That.
wanted to put it away right there. Oh, a team
fake.
bump.
Oh, 0 second.
Wait a second.
Oh.
Oh, clutch factor from Far right there.
And now it's going the other way.
Oh, wait a
Speed.
second. Recon gonna
Good clear.
though.
Surely they just let this
Divio.
drop. Yep. Overtime.
Overtime.
Game 3. Yetis.
The Yetis
Last
playing
life.
for their life right now.
Tikis with 2 extra lives after this game. Good shot from Recon.
Almost putting it away right there.
Oh,
Yo, couldn't quite
close.
wrap all the way around. A big boost steal though. That's gonna allow
Far-
him to stay
far
on
with-
the ball here.
this Yetis team's looking like they don't have a lot of boost.
Yeah, and
I
the
think that's going to be the
Tikis,
big
there it
factor.
is.
And there it is.
There it is. The
Tikis.
Yetis couldn't quite keep themselves alive, even with the sub.
They did
Molly
play
coming
a
in
lot
last
better
second.
there. Definitely
They
played
did.
a lot better.
Yeah. I would have loved to have seen a series. I hate that for them. that they weren't able to play with Molly for those first 2 games, because that makes a humongous impact on the result of this series. Thoughts overall, though? What do you think? I mean,
All
I
I'm
guess you
saying,
called it
I
though.
was gonna say, all I'm saying is I was right.
You
Not
were
a
right.
close series up until that last game,
For
and
the
that was.
first time this whole bracket, you were right.
I don't know. My brackets have been looking pretty good so far, so we'll have to see. I did
Fair
get a
enough.
few of those upsets going.
Fair enough. Well, with that said, the Tikis advance on to the West Conference Finals, going to face the Arizona Scorpions, waiting for them there. And the winner, of course, going to the grand finals to face whoever comes out of that Iceland Foxes Michigan Blizzard matchup. I assume that with the vocality of the Tikis team, that they are probably going to want to get in here and talk a little smack, if nothing else. We'll be sure to steer them onto some instructive questions, but we'll see. We'll see if we can get any of them in here. I presume they will want to. There's Recon. He'll be getting in here in just a second. And there's all 3 of them. Let's get the boys in here for some questions, preguntas, for all of you Spanish speaking.
Hello, hello.
Hello, fellas. Hello, hello. Congratulations.
Muy gracias, mi amor.
Another Espanol here. Another Espanol. Well, how are you guys feeling? Y'all look like you were feeling very confident, very speedy. What was the thought process going into this series?
Speed.
Answer the question.
No, I was just talking about the speed. I wasn't talking about you. I was just talking about speed in general.
Playing fast.
Yeah.
I did notice you guys were very much holding down that midfield, taking all the boosts, trying to just keep that ball on their side. Was that kind of the plan you went for, or is that just kind of what happened?
We didn't have a plan.
Yeah, we kind of just winged it, honestly. That's kind of our play style. We kind of pressure a lot. I mean, as you can see, our average shots are like 8.1 or whatever it is. Probably higher now. We had like 15 shots in one of those games. But, yeah, just pressure.
Did
Go ahead.
Did Molly? Okay, so you think Molly had a difference in that third game coming
Yes.
in just
Yeah.
fresh?
Definitely.
Did that make it harder for you guys to on offense or on defense? Because I noticed that Molly was on both sides pretty heavily, making an impact.
Probably both, honestly.
I honestly say defense because he set up a lot, but once I realized he did that, I kind of had to shut him down and demo him a ton.
Right.
Do you think that series goes differently, or at least deeper, if Molly's there for the first couple games, or do you think you guys still shut it out rather quickly?
Maybe like a 3-1, but we were pretty confident we were going to go 3-0. We just wanted to really show up because we don't really like how some people view us as it right now, but we just want to show ourselves up, and that's what we came here to do, and we did it. So.
Well, you definitely did. One of those super teams that have been thrown together right here at the back half of the season. You guys are playing well for sure. How you guys feeling going into next week?
Well, I just want to say right here that
Point it out.
that Tikis are here to prove the directors wrong in their predictions.
Oh.
Yes.
So, I'm going to... Should I say it?
Yeah, go for it. I won't save it.
All right, so after we 3-1 the Scorpions, right? That's our next opponent.
Okay.
We didn't have our main 3, obviously. We had me, Div, and Chico. We played another scrim the day after, the day of or after predictions were made or whatever, and you guys had us losing against the Scorpions. And we beat them 3-0. So,
Okay.
yeah.
It's true. I was there. Too bad scrims don't count towards playoffs, but we'll have a matchup next week.
And it is a longer series, best of 7. So.
Wait, it is?
Yep. A little bit more stamina is going to be needed for that series.
All right. We can
We'll be
do
fine.
that. Yeah.
I'm sure you will. I don't have any more questions, Andy.
Yeah, congratulations, guys, for sure. Congratulations moving on. We'll be happy to see you guys next week. Definitely on stream whenever that happens. But any final words before we get out?
I have one. So, George is saying that you should sneak in a wink during the stream.
Tell her I'll think about it. I appreciate you translating that for me over here.
Yes, you are welcome. I needed to get the message across.
Yes. Very important from Miss Georgiana over here. Very important. I'm sure she will be thrilled that you passed that message along.
Well,
Yeah. Anything else? Anything else from you guys?
We're chasing that chip.
Yeah.
We're
That's-
getting it.
here you
We're
go.
saving Big Mac's career as a GM at the Tikis here, so that's our goal.
Bringing it back from the brink.
Yeah.
between the Foxes and the Blizzard, who do you think? Who would you rather
Blizzards.
play, and who do you think will come through?
I'd rather play the Foxes, but the Blizzards will come through.
Yeah, Blizzard's team's looking pretty good.
The Blizzards is the only other challenging team in this bracket.
Agreed.
You just roasted me and Andy at the same time. I
I'm
appreciate
sorry.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
Too bad.
I mean, we
Too
said
bad,
it from the
so-
rip. We
Oh
said it
my
from the rip.
god.
The Tiki's definitely the biggest mouths in the league, so
it.
definitely
Hey,
living
hey.
up to that.
You're
They
not
stick
wrong.
by it. They stick by it. So I mean, it's their style. Not gonna knock them for it. But once again, congratulations, you guys, and we'll definitely have you guys playing it next week.
Yeah.
Jeez.
GG's.
GG's.
Love you, Andy.
That's gonna be.
Thank you,
love baby.
casters.
That is
Thank
gonna
you.
be
You're welcome,
it.
Georgiana.
That is going to be it for week 1 of the playoffs for the entirety of URL, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So you have all of your conference finals set for every single division. We might get a bracket up here. We might not. I'm not sure. But the 4 teams left in All-Star, I know. Obviously, the Foxes versus the Blizzard up in that East Conference Finals. And then down in the West, you got the Scorpions versus the Tikis. What are your thoughts going into this week 2 of the playoffs?
I think, honestly, both games are going almost the distance. I don't think there's going to be a sweep in either series. I think whichever 2 teams make it out of those 2 games is going to make for a great grand finals there. Because I think
Agreed.
All-Star is super competitive, if not the most competitive league that we have for 3s and even 2s, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So
Agreed. Yeah, I am looking forward to both watching you guys' series and getting to play ours. Our LCS definitely gave me a little bit of a buff to have some confidence going into this and just ready to play more Rocket League for sure. So I don't know much about contenders or ultimate. Obviously, All-Star has been my main focus, with it being as competitive as you say. It's gonna be a good series, like you said. Both sides gonna be real tough. So definitely looking forward to seeing the results from that. But do you have anything before we send it on home into week 2 of the playoffs?
Tikis are losing to Arizona. You hear it here first.
The very much opposite of what you just heard from the entire Tikis team. I think I have not seen the Blizzards team. I have not seen it at all. And I was blown away that they 3-0'd the Liberty, because the Liberty was looking solid, especially at the first half of the regular season. But the Foxes, with the pickup of Mr. Glowstick and Form here at the end of the season, I think they're playing really fast. And I'd like to see how the Blizzard handle that kind of pressure going into week 2. So it'll be an interesting matchup. I'm ready to see how both of them come out. A lot of the seeding coming into the playoffs has been overturned in both conferences and in all of the leagues too. I don't think many number 1s are left, if I'm not mistaken. I think Arizona might be the only one. I know.
I think Gold Miners
Foxes.
and Ultimate, and then Foxes and
Okay.
Contenders.
Okay.
Those are the 2.
So over half of the number 1s are gone. Is that
There's
correct?
one, yeah. So
Okay.
the Liberty obviously lost, and then Astros
Yep.
were defeated by the Yetis in
Yep.
Contenders.
Almost undefeated for the season too,
and
falling
then
in the
out.
first round.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest shocker of
Big upsets.
this first week. So
Big upsets. Mr. Isaiah probably had a few tears after that one, I'd say, but only.
I think most of the directors did, unfortunately.
I don't think you'll hear any people admitting to that though. So we'll see. But I think that is going to be it from us for wrapping it up for week 1 of the playoffs. We'll definitely be having as many games, if not all games, streamed for the upcoming games. I guess we've got 6 of them to happen through the next couple weeks. My math could be wrong, or over this weekend. I'm sorry. And
Yeah,
we'll
6.
see 6 of them. Yeah, and then we'll see our grand finals the next week. Like you mentioned earlier, bests of 7 from here on out. So it's definitely going to change a little bit the way that series fall, but it's going to be some great games either way. Nolan, you have anything else for us before we send it home? Fantastic. Jesse, any last words?
As I said, both. In fact, I'll make this even better. Both Fox's teams are winning it all.
Winning it all. Heard it here first. I am not going to make any bold claims for anybody in any league.
That's what I'm known
say,
for. That's why I do it.
I'm just going to say thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you all next week.